South Africa loves cryptocurrency. It's the second-ranked country on the continent with at least 7.1% of the population holding digital assets. But what if we told you more than half of South Africans are ready to invest in cryptocurrency, provided they get a bit of assistance? We're not exactly sure what they mean by that, but we do know what this could mean for the market. Stay tuned as we tell you all about it. First up, what assistance? What assistance are South Africans talking about? Do they need help understanding how to convert fiat into stablecoins? Or are they looking for a localized exchange that's easier to understand? Because the last thing we expect is that they'd ask the banks for help. A survey revealed that more than 50% of the population would invest in cryptocurrencies if banks sort of made the whole process easier. First of all, guys, you don't need banks. Just download an exchange, use the P2P option, and start investing. We get that there may be some resistance, since digital currencies are a fairly new concept amongst the older generation. But 4.1 million people living in the country are already invested in cryptocurrency, and they certainly didn't need the banks to pull this off. All it takes is a little bit of education. But still, we have to consider the fact that a large portion of that number is made up of youngsters between the ages of 18 and 24. And crypto has always sort of been more fast-paced, making it a more suitable asset class for younger investors. Because let's face it, there's two things that are happening in South Africa right now. Investors know what they're investing in, or they're just trying to get rich. If it's the first one, then this is some really good news for the market. But if youngsters are just throwing their money into digital currencies without any real knowledge about it, then there's really no point. But remember that survey we talked about? Well, that says 14% of investors have considerable knowledge about what they're investing in. And let's not forget, they did it without assistance from the banks. So yeah, we'll stick to our point. South Africa doesn't need banks to get started with cryptocurrency. All they need is a bit of education, and we'll be seeing a huge boom in the market. Think of it this way. If 4.1 million investors put $1 into cryptocurrency, it adds $4.1 million to the market. Now imagine if they each put in 100, or imagine 10 million people invested 100 each. It would add a ton of value to the market. Next, what about decentralization and regulations? We've said it before and we'll say it again. Crypto is all about decentralization. People having the freedom to do whatever they want with their money without giving up control to banks. And fiat is kinda overrated, to be honest. Banks just print more whenever they want, pushing down the value of what's in our pockets. But crypto isn't like that. It's the future. So when more than 50% of South Africans say they'll invest in cryptocurrencies if the banks offer such services, we don't think they understand what that really means. It's like wanting to take control only to give it up again. The whole point of crypto was to get an escape from banks. But since South Africans are pretty much looking at local banks to help them get started, it's more of a centralized approach to digital currencies, since they'll make the rules. They'll also set up a lot of regulations because they don't want the majority of the profit going into your pockets. Some of it will go to them, some to the government, and a billion other taxes. So when we say South Africa needs education and not banks, we are really serious. But obviously there's two sides to a coin. It'll be safer in South Africa in comparison to other countries where crypto fraud is on the rise. Anyway, we still think education is more important. The more you learn, the more you earn. Let's talk about how this could be a good thing. The only reason why we think South Africans should turn to banks is because there's plenty of ways to invest without them. But hey, if that's what the people want, then why not? Because it will ultimately help the market, right? And if the banks are able to maintain the correct balance between intervention and decentralization, then it might actually end up being a good thing. Like look at El Salvador, for example. The government is pro-Bitcoin and buys almost every dip. So it's not necessarily a bad thing since it's good for the economy as well. There needs to be an asset that isn't tied to typical fiat currency. We're not saying crypto isn't hit by global microeconomic conditions, but at least it doesn't inflate every time the bank prints money or something. Anyway, what we're really trying to say is that if this is the case, then banks should look for ways to enable and protect investors. Not do something like the Indian government, which taxes you every time you make money, but leaves you without any protection when you lose big time. It's almost like saying, if you win, I win, but if you lose alone. And we know it's how the world works, but is it unfair? Kinda. So again, this can be good if banks don't make it tough to invest with absurd tax rates and stuff like that. Time for some more on crypto. Up next, straight out of a movie. You have two hard drives lying on your desk. One has 7,500 bitcoins on it, and the other is empty. One morning you wake up and think about discarding the empty one, but what happens? You guessed it, you accidentally throw away the one with $163 million. What do you do now? Just cry and sulk over it? Not if you're James Howells. He has this absurd plan that sounds like it's straight out of a movie. He plans to spend about $11 million over 18 months to search for a hard drive in a dump with more than 110,000 tons of garbage. What's even more absurd is that he's gotten some people to invest in the search to build robot dogs that will scan the garbage 24 hours a day to locate the drive. He plans on giving most of it away, since it'll take a lot of manpower to find the drive. The city of New Newport has refused to give him permission to search the landfill, even though he offered them 30% of the findings. Let's see how his plan fares this time around. And now for the mega sale. So a lot of experts have been talking about Ethereum recently, claiming it's about to fall really bad to the lowest it's ever been in a really long time. And while a lot of people are thinking about the word crash, all we can think of is a mega sale on one of our favorite assets. The panel of experts initially predicted ETH to floor at around $1,100 by the end of 2022, but now they've gone even lower. But after considering how the market is performing, they've estimated the second best asset in the market to rest at the $650 to $700 mark at the end of this year. Don't know about you, but we're definitely going to be saving to load up a couple of Ethereums when this happens. And in case you're thinking that's impossible or something, both Bitcoin and ETH have erased all the growth they recorded in the past couple of weeks. Data coming in from various sources also revealed that traders have withdrawn about $3.7 billion from ETH in the past 17 days. Do they know something we don't? Anyway, we'd advise you not to make any sudden moves. Remember, always do your own research, since none of this is financial advice, but it wouldn't hurt to save around about $500 to load up ETH on New Year's Eve. Finally, time to moon? Ladies and gentlemen, the time is here. We're about to go to the moon for good. You better load up your wallets because 7 more countries are about to announce Bitcoin as a legal tender following El Salvador and Central Africa. The new countries include Brazil, Portugal, Argentina, Mexico, Panama, Honduras, Brazil, and Paraguay. This will be huge for the market since the governments of these countries will obviously want to load up on Bitcoin while it's still cheap, pushing the price up and increasing market activities. There are a lot of other events which may possibly transform this bear market into bull, but this is perhaps the biggest of them all. So keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best. If this goes through, then we're going to be seeing new all-time highs of our favorite assets. The days of fiat are limited. Get ready for the digital revolution. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? Does South Africa need more crypto education, or should banks intervene and help increase exposure? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exciting and informative content in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you next time.